Before we get started, please like and subscribe. Let me know where you're watching from, and you can support the channel by clicking thanks or joining. I never believed a place could remember sound. I believed walls remembered footsteps, that doors remembered hands, that streets remembered blood. But sound was supposed to vanish. Screams were meant to dissolve into air and be forgotten the moment breath ran out. That belief died the night I walked into Calder Alley. No one in Boston talks about Calder Alley out loud. Not because it is dangerous, not because people vanish there, but because acknowledging it feels like inviting it closer. Taxi drivers refuse to stop near it. Delivery drivers mark the address as inaccessible. Even the police reports I later obtained described it as an unremarkable service passage with no distinguishing features. That was the first lie. I was not looking for Calder Alley when I found it. I was following an invitation. The envelope arrived on a Monday afternoon, slid halfway under my apartment door like it had grown tired of knocking. It was thick, off-white, and heavy in a way paper should not be. My name was printed in clean black letters, perfectly centered, with no return address. The date stamped in the upper right corner made my stomach tighten. April 14th. Last year, I checked the postmark. Same date. 12 months old. I told myself it was a prank, maybe a delayed piece of mail that had fallen behind a sorting machine. But the envelope was pristine. No creases, no water stains, no dust. It smelled faintly of cold air and metal. Inside was a single card. No decoration, no explanation, just an address and a time. Calder Alley, 11:47 p.m. Please do not arrive early. The message was typed. No signature, no greeting, no context. Only that final line. Polite and unsettling in equal measure. I should have thrown it away. Instead, I checked my calendar. April 14th. Tonight, I spent the rest of the day trying to convince myself not to go. I searched the address online. Nothing. I searched Calder Alley by name. No official listings, no street view images, only a handful of forum posts buried deep in message boards from years ago, all vague, all unfinished. One comment stood out. If you hear yourself scream, do not answer. At 11:30 p.m. I left my apartment. Boston at night feels older than it does during the day. The city sheds its modern skin and exposes something colder underneath. I followed the map on my phone until it stopped updating. The alley was not where it should have been. Calder Alley appeared between two brick buildings that my phone insisted were connected. At exactly 11:47 p.m. I crossed the threshold. The scream came from deeper in the alley. The scream was mine. Halfway down the alley was a narrow metal door. You may enter now. The door did not open right away. When I pulled the handle, there was resistance, not the solid refusal of a locked door, but the hesitation of something deciding whether I was allowed inside. The metal felt colder than before, cold enough to sting my palm, and, for a brief, irrational moment, I was certain it was drawing heat out of me, measuring me, memorizing me. Behind me, Calder Alley exhaled. That was the only way I could describe the sound. A long, controlled release of air that rippled through the narrow passage, carrying with it the faint echo of my own breathing. I could hear myself inhaling twice, once from my chest and once from somewhere behind the walls. I did not turn around. The door clicked. It opened inward without a sound. Beyond it was darkness, deeper than the alley, a darkness that felt enclosed and precise, like a room built specifically to contain it. I hesitated just long enough to feel panic rise in my throat, then stepped inside. The door closed behind me. There was no slam, no finality. It shut with a gentle certainty, like it had always intended to do so. The alley sounds vanished instantly. No traffic, no wind, no distant city noise. Only silence so complete it made my ears ring. Light bloomed overhead. A single fluorescent strip flickered to life, revealing a narrow corridor that stretched farther than should have been possible, given the alley outside. The walls were smooth concrete, unmarked, uncracked, unnaturally clean. The floor was dry and level, the air stale and faintly metallic. I checked my phone. No signal, no time. The screen showed only my reflection, warped and pale in the dim light. When I tried to lock it, the screen stayed on, brightness slowly increasing until I shoved it back into my pocket. I took a step forward. The light followed me, not physically moving, but brightening ahead and dimming behind, as if the corridor itself were watching, adjusting its focus to keep me in view. With every step, a low hum grew louder, a vibration I could feel through the soles of my shoes. I told myself to stay calm. Panic would only make things worse. I had walked into this place willingly. Whatever it was, there had to be a reason. The corridor ended abruptly at a metal chair bolted to the floor. Opposite it was a wall of dark glass, stretching from floor to ceiling. At first glance, it looked like a mirror. Then I realized it reflected nothing behind me. No corridor, no door, only me. The chair scraped loudly as I approached it, though I had not touched it yet. The sound made me flinch. It was my own voice again, distorted, replayed at a lower pitch. "Sit down." The words were not spoken aloud. They arrived fully formed in my head, carrying the familiar cadence of my own internal voice. I backed away, heart racing. The glass rippled. A shape appeared on the other side, vague and human, its features blurred like a reflection in disturbed water. It moved when I moved, but not quite in sync. There was a delay, subtle but unmistakable. I realized with a sickening jolt that I was not looking at my reflection. I was looking at a recording. The shape lifted its hand. I did not. A beat passed. Then my arm rose on its own, muscles tightening without my consent, copying the motion exactly. Panic surged through me as I tried to fight it, my body lagging half a second behind whatever was controlling the image. The figure leaned closer to the glass, its face sharpened. It was me, older, eyes hollowed by exhaustion, skin drawn tight over bone. A thin line of blood ran from the corner of its mouth, disappearing into the collar of a familiar jacket. My jacket. The figure smiled. When it spoke, the sound came from everywhere at once. "You arrived late." My mouth opened without permission. "Late for what?" The words came out wrong, slurred, weak. The figure tilted its head. For your invitation, for your warning, for the moment you were supposed to listen. Images flooded my mind. A hospital room, white walls, the smell of antiseptic, a monitor flatlining, a scream tearing out of my chest as hands pushed me back from a bed. My scream, the accident. I staggered, vision blurring. That was the first time Calder Alley heard you, the figure said. That was when it learned your sound. The glass pulsed gently, like a living thing breathing. This place collects moments of maximum volume. Pain, fear, regret. It plays them back until they learn to answer. The chair scraped again. Sit down. I shook my head violently. No. The lights flickered. The corridor behind me was gone. Where it had been was now more glass, stretching endlessly, reflecting hundreds of versions of me at different ages, different moments frozen in terror. Each mouth was open in a silent scream. The hum rose to a roar. You are here to return the sound, the figure said, to put it back where it belongs. My knees buckled. I understood then. The invitation had not been a request. It had been a reminder. Somewhere far above me, a clock chimed midnight. The glass cracked, and every version of me began to scream at once. The screaming did not stop. It layered itself over my thoughts, crushing them flat, turning memory into noise. Hundreds of voices, all identical, all mine, all trapped in different moments of terror. The sound vibrated through my bones until I could no longer tell where it ended and my body began. Then it cut off. The silence was violent. I collapsed onto the cold concrete, gasping, my throat raw as if I had been the one screaming the entire time. My ears rang, a high, thin whine that refused to fade. When I lifted my head, the glass wall was whole again. The reflections were gone. Only the older version of me remained. He looked tired now, not threatening, just resigned. His eyes followed me as I struggled to sit up, my muscles trembling like they had forgotten how to function. You survived that part, he said calmly. Most people do not. I forced myself to focus on his voice, on the rhythm of words instead of the meaning. What is this place? I asked. He considered the question. It is a registry, he replied. A place that catalogs sound tied to irreversible moments, screams, final words, confessions whispered too late to matter. Calder Alley is just the entrance. I pushed myself against the wall, needing something solid at my back. Why me? The figure smiled faintly. Because you left something unfinished. The glass darkened, and images began to move across its surface like projected film. I saw a younger version of myself standing at the edge of Calder Alley years earlier. I was drunk, laughing, daring my friends to follow me inside. The memory hit me with such force I felt sick. I remembered the sound then. The scream, not the one from the accident. Another one. A woman had been there. Someone I did not know. She had stumbled out of the alley, clutching her side, blood soaking through her fingers. I had frozen. I had watched her collapse, and when sirens approached, I had run. I had never told anyone. The figure met my gaze through the glass. You heard her scream, he said. You carried it away with you. The corridor shifted. The walls trembled. as if reacting to the confession. The concrete flexing like muscle, the hum returned. Deeper now, slower, matching the pace of my heart. This place does not allow sounds to be taken without consequence. The figure continued. When you ignore them, they follow. They age. They learn your voice. The lights dimmed. A new door appeared behind the figure, barely visible through the darkened glass. From beyond it came a familiar sound. Crying, not mine, female, weak, wet with pain. My stomach dropped. She is still here, the figure said, or what remains of her. The chair scraped forward on its own, stopping inches from my knees. You can leave, he said, or you can finish what you started. My pulse thundered in my ears. What does that mean? The figure raised his hand. It means returning the scream to its owner. The glass dissolved, not shattered, not broken. It simply ceased to exist, leaving open space between us. The older version of me stepped forward, and for the first time, I noticed he cast no shadow. Up close, the smell of antiseptic and rust clung to him. You do not have much time, he said. The longer a sound stays here, the harder it is to separate. The crying grew louder. I stood on shaking legs. If I do this, I said slowly, what happens to me? The figure looked at me with something like pity. You get to keep the screams that belong to you. The corridor reformed around us, stretching sideways now instead of forward. Walls sliding into place with a grinding sound. Doors lined the passage, each marked only by faint scratches that looked like claw marks. Behind every door was a sound. Some were whispers, some were sobs, some were screams so loud they rattled my teeth even through the metal. We stopped in front of one door. This one pulsed faintly, the metal bowing outward, as if something inside was pressing against it. This is hers, the figure said. My hand hovered inches from the handle. I felt the weight of the years I had spent pretending I did not remember her face, pretending I had not heard her die. The door handle was warm, alive. I swallowed hard and opened it. The sound exploded outward. Her scream tore through me, raw and endless, filling the corridor with a pain so sharp it blurred my vision. Images flooded my mind. Her fear, her confusion, her final realization that no one was coming. I dropped to my knees. The figure stood over me. Do not speak, he warned. Do not answer. Just listen. The scream began to change. It softened, it slowed, it pulled away from me, unraveling like thread being drawn back into a wound. The door slammed shut. The corridor went still. The crying stopped. For the first time since entering Calder Alley, I felt lighter. The figure nodded. You have returned one sound, he said. Then the lights flickered again, and somewhere deep in the corridor, another door began to open. The corridor did not let me rest. After the door sealed and the silence returned, the walls began to move again, slower this time, as if deciding what to show me next. The air thickened, pressing against my chest, each breath harder than the last. I leaned against the concrete, sweat cooling rapidly on my skin. The older version of me watched closely. One sound returned. Does not mean the balance is restored, he said. Calder Alley does not forget what it is owed. The lights shifted, stretching into long vertical lines that made the corridor feel taller, narrower. The remaining doors pulsed faintly. violently, each with its own rhythm, like mismatched heartbeats. I wrapped my arms around myself. "How many are there?" I asked. The figure did not answer right away. "As many as you have ignored," he finally said. The floor beneath us vibrated. A door 3 spaces down shuddered violently, its surface buckling outward with a deep metallic groan. From behind it came the sound of fists pounding, frantic and uneven. "Help me!" The voice was male, young, terrified. I felt my stomach twist. "I know that voice," I whispered. The figure nodded. "College basement party," he said. "Fire alarm disabled. Smoke before flames." The memory surged forward without warning. Laughter, music, a crowded room, someone shouting about the smoke machine malfunctioning, me brushing past a guy banging on a locked door, telling him someone else would help. Someone else never did. The pounding grew louder. "Help me, please." The words broke apart into coughing fits. Wet and desperate, heat radiated from the door, the metal warming beneath my fingertips as I reached toward it. I stepped back. "I cannot do all of them," I said. "I will not survive it." The figure studied me. "Survival is not the metric," he replied. "Completion is." The corridor lurched sideways, forcing me to brace myself. The lights flickered red for a moment, bathing everything in a warning glow. "Choose," he said. 2 doors slid forward from the wall, stopping directly in front of me. One rattled violently, smoke seeping through its seams, the screams inside breaking down into choking gasps. The other was still, too still. No vibration, no sound, just silence so complete it felt like pressure against my ears. I turned toward the silent door. "What is that one?" The figure hesitated. "That is a scream that was never released," he said. A sound swallowed before it could exist. The idea made my skin crawl. I approached the silent door. It was colder than the others, frost creeping along its edges. As my hand hovered near the handle, images filled my mind. A car stopped on a dark road, headlights illuminating a man standing too close. My own voice caught in my throat. A decision made in less than a second. The car swerving, the impact. No scream, only the sound of my own heart pounding as I drove away. I stumbled back, bile rising in my throat. "I did not hear him," I whispered. "I did not know." The figure met my eyes. "You knew enough." Behind me, the pounding door erupted into a violent clang, the voice breaking into incoherent shrieks. The corridor trembled, reacting to my indecision. "Choose now," the figure said, "or the alley will choose for you." The lights dimmed further. I reached for the silent door. The moment I touched the handle, the world folded inward. Sound rushed back all at once. The scream that never existed tore out of my chest, ripping through my lungs, shredding my throat. It was pure terror, unfiltered by language. A sound so raw, it felt like it was peeling me apart from the inside. I dropped to the floor, convulsing. The corridor screamed with me. Walls vibrated, doors rattled, lights burst overhead, plunging everything into darkness. Then slowly, the sound drained away. The scream left me, slipping through my ribs like smoke pulled by a vacuum. Silence returned. The lights flickered back on. The silent door was gone. In its place was bare concrete, smooth and unmarked. I lay there gasping, tears streaking my face. The figure crouched beside me. "That one," he said softly, "can only be returned once." I could not speak. From deeper in the corridor, the pounding door continued. "Help me." I closed my eyes and forced myself to stand. I lost track of time after that, not because time stopped, but because it no longer behaved in ways I understood. My body felt heavy, each movement delayed, like I was operating several seconds behind my own intentions. The corridor stretched again, lengthening with every step, as if punishing me for continuing forward. The remaining doors no longer pulsed randomly. They had synchronized. Each one vibrated in a slow, unified rhythm that matched the thud of my heart. I could feel it through the floor, through my bones. A reminder that as long as my heart kept beating, Calder Alley still had use for me. "You are deteriorating," the figure said calmly as he walked beside me. His footsteps made no sound. I laughed weakly. "You sound disappointed." He glanced at me. "Deterioration complicates extraction," he replied. "Screams returned under duress are unstable." The corridor bent downward, sloping into a wider chamber. The ceiling rose, disappearing into darkness, while the walls curved inward, like the inside of a throat. The air here smelled different. Old, stale, heavy with layered breaths. In the center of the chamber stood a circle of doors, dozens of them. They faced inward, each one angled slightly toward the center, like an audience waiting for a performance. Some were cracked open just enough for sound to leak through. Others were sealed tight, their surfaces scarred by deep gouges. I stopped walking. "This is not fair," I said. The figure regarded the doors. "Fairness implies choice," he said. "You already made yours." A low murmur filled the chamber. Whispers, hundreds of them overlapping, weaving together into a dense fabric of sound. As I listened, I realized they were not random. They were memories, snippets of conversations I barely remembered. Apologies never spoken aloud, lies told casually and forgotten. Each whisper carried my voice. I pressed my hands against my ears. "Make it stop. It will stop when you finish," he said. One door directly across from me creaked open. Inside was a small room, brightly lit and painfully ordinary. White walls, a folding chair, a table with a phone resting on top. I froze. That phone, I recognized it immediately. It was mine. "No," he said softly. "It is where yours began." The memory slammed into me. A voicemail notification. A missed call from an unknown number. Me deleting it without listening, annoyed at the interruption. The next morning, the news headline, "Missing woman found deceased." My breath hitched. The whispering grew louder. "Listen to it," the figure said. The phone rang. I took an involuntary step backward. "You do not have to answer," he continued. "You only have to hear what you refuse to hear then." My hands shook as I crossed the threshold. The moment I stepped inside the room, the door slammed shut behind me. The whispering outside cut off abruptly, replaced by the sterile hum of fluorescent lights. The phone rang again. I stared at it, paralyzed. "Answer it," My own voice whispered from behind me. I spun around. The room was empty. The phone rang a third time. I picked it up. The sound that came through the receiver was not a voice. It was breathing, shallow, uneven. "Wet, please," the woman whispered finally. "I do not know where I am." The words stabbed straight through me. I remembered now. I had been at work, distracted. I had seen the missed call later and convinced myself it was spam. I did not know it was her. I did not know she was trapped. I squeezed my eyes shut. "I am listening," I said hoarsely. The breathing hitched. "You are the first one who has listened," she said. The sound changed. Her fear softened, untangled from panic. The room seemed to breathe with her, walls relaxing, lights dimming slightly. I stayed on the line. I did not speak. I listened as her breath slowed, as her voice weakened, as the call eventually dissolved into silence. The phone went dead. The room faded. When I found myself back in the chamber, one of the doors had vanished, leaving behind smooth concrete. The whispers had thinned. The figure nodded once. "Returned," he said. My knees gave out. I dropped to the floor, shaking, tears spilling freely. "How many more?" I asked. The figure looked around the circle. "Enough to erase you," he said. Then one of the remaining doors began to laugh. Laughter should not echo like that. The sound crawled across the chamber, thin and warped, bending at the edges as if the walls themselves were unsure how to carry it. It did not come from one door. It came from several at once, overlapping in broken rhythm. The figure stiffened beside me. "That is new," he said. Cold spread through my chest. "What does that mean?" Before he could answer, the doors shifted. They began to rotate slowly around the chamber, grinding against the concrete floor. The circle lost its symmetry, doors sliding out of alignment, some drifting closer, others retreating into shadow. The laughter grew louder. It was my laughter, not nervous, not forced. Real, the kind of laugh that comes from genuine amusement. My stomach dropped. I remembered it. A bar downtown, late, crowded, someone telling a story that crossed a line, someone else getting uncomfortable. Me laughing anyway because everyone else was. The door nearest to me flew open. Inside was the bar, perfectly recreated. Sticky floors, neon lights, low ceiling humming with music. People frozen mid-movement like mannequins, mouths open, glasses raised. And there I was, sitting at the bar, laughing. I staggered backward. "That is impossible." The figure watched intently. "Calder Alley has begun to fracture your timeline," he said. "Sounds returned improperly, create feedback." The version of me inside the bar turned his head. He looked directly at me. The laugh cut off mid-breath. His eyes widened. The entire scene snapped into motion. Music roared to life. Glass shattered. People screamed not in fear but confusion as the world around them broke apart. The laughing me stood up. "You should not be here," he said calmly. My voice, different tone, colder. "You left this one unfinished too," the figure said, cruelty disguised as humor. The bar version of me stepped forward. "It was just a joke," he said. The words hit harder than any scream. I felt something tear inside my chest. I wanted to argue, to explain, to minimize, but the room answered for me. The laughter returned, distorted now, warping into shrieks that made my teeth ache. Faces in the bar twisted, their mouths stretching impossibly wide, laughter and screams blending into a single unbearable sound. "Make it stop," I shouted. The bar version smiled. "You laughed first." The walls of the chamber buckled. Doors slammed open all around us, unleashing fragments of sound, laughter, crying, shouting, apologies, all colliding into chaos. The figure grabbed my arm. "You are losing coherence," he said sharply. Too many overlaps. I felt myself splitting, memories layered on top of each other. Times I laughed when I should have spoken. Times I stayed silent because it was easier. The bar version lunged. I stumbled back and fell through the doorway. The bar vanished. I hit the chamber floor hard, gasping. The laughter stopped abruptly. Silence rushed in, heavy and suffocating. The door to the bar sealed itself. The figure crouched beside me. "That one cannot be returned," he said. It was never regret. It was enjoyment. I stared at him in horror. Then what happens to it? He looked toward the sealed door. "It stays with you." The chamber shuddered. Cracks spread across the walls, thin at first, then widening, leaking dim light from somewhere beyond. The remaining doors began to scream, not my voice. Thousands of voices, all laughing, all screaming, all at once. The figure stood. "We are running out of time," he said, and for the first time since entering Calder Alley, he sounded afraid. The chamber could not hold itself together anymore. Cracks raced across the walls like lightning trapped in stone, each fracture releasing a burst of sound that stabbed into my skull. The laughter and screaming blended into something new, something unstable, like the alley was choking on everything it had collected. The figure grabbed my shoulders. "Listen to me," he said urgently. "Calder Alley is collapsing inward. When it does, it will choose a keeper." My vision blurred. A keeper for what? For the screams that cannot be returned. The floor dropped without warning. I screamed as gravity vanished and the chamber folded in on itself. Doors tore free from the walls, spinning past me like broken teeth. Sound ripped through space, shredding any sense of direction. Then everything stopped. I slammed onto cold stone. The air smelled different here. Damp, ancient, heavy with decay. I pushed myself up slowly, every muscle screaming in protest. We were no longer in the chamber. We stood in a long, narrow alley. Calder Alley, but not the one I had entered. This version was older. The bricks were uneven, eroded by time, mortar crumbling like bone dust under my fingers. The darkness here felt permanent, not just the absence of light, but a presence in its own right. "This is the core," the figure said quietly, "where the alley listens." The screams were quieter here, not gone, contained. They seeped from the walls in faint whispers, each one brushing against my thoughts like cold fingers. As I walked, I saw shapes pressed into the brick faces, impressions of hands, mouths, eyes frozen on in silent agony. I stumbled back. "They are inside the walls." The figure nodded. "When no one answers a scream, it seeks structure," he said. "It becomes part of the place." Yeah. The alley stretched ahead, impossibly long. At its center stood a mirror, not glass, water, a vertical sheet of dark liquid hanging in the air. rippling slowly without falling. The whispers grew louder as we approached, words dissolving into sobs. "That is where keepers are chosen," the figure said. I looked at him. "Chosen how?" He did not answer. The surface of the water mirror shifted. A face emerged. Mine, but not from the future. From now, I watched myself standing there, hollow-eyed, skin-gray lips trembling. He reached toward the water. I felt my arm move against my will. "No," I whispered. The water rippled violently. The alley screamed. Every sound I had returned surged back through the walls, slamming into me all at once. The pain was indescribable. Each scream cut through a different memory, reopening wounds I thought had closed. The figure shouted something I could not hear. The water face opened its mouth and screamed. It was not a single sound. It was all of them. I felt myself splitting again, not into memories, but into echoes. Pieces of me tearing loose and sinking into the alley walls. I dropped to my knees. "Make it stop," I begged. The figure knelt in front of me. "There is only one way," he said softly. "You must decide which screams you carry." The water mirror calmed. Images formed within it. People I had failed. People I had ignored. People I had hurt without meaning to. Their mouths opened, waiting. If I refused, the alley would choose for me. If I accepted, I would never leave whole. I reached toward the water. The cold burned. I felt sounds latch onto me. Voices, screams, laughter, fear, binding themselves into my chest. The alley exhaled. The water mirror shattered silently into mist. The whispers faded. The walls relaxed. The figure stood. "It is done," he said. I looked at my hands. They were shaking. "What am I now?" I asked. The figure stepped back into the darkness. "You are what Calder Alley needs," he replied. "A listener, and somewhere far behind us." A new scream echoed. I expected pain to follow the transformation. Instead, there was weight, not physical weight, but something denser, heavier, settling behind my eyes and in my chest. Every breath carried more than air. It carried residue. Fragments of voices clung to each inhale, brushing my thoughts before dissolving. The figure was gone. I stood alone in Calder Alley. The core alley was silent now, its ancient bricks no longer whispering, no longer pressing inward. The walls stood still, as if satisfied. I could feel the screams embedded within them, dormant but aware, like predators sleeping just beneath the surface. I tried to step forward. The alley resisted, not with force, but with expectation. A subtle pressure that suggested movement was allowed only with permission. I waited, unsure of what I was waiting for. Then a sound reached me. Footsteps, soft, hesitant. Someone was entering the alley. My heart jumped. I turned toward the entrance and saw a man standing at the threshold. Mid-30s, nervous posture, phone clenched tightly in his hand. He looked exactly like I must have looked hours ago. He took one step inside. The air shifted. I felt it instantly, a sharp pull behind my ribs, like a hook catching on something fragile. A scream brushed against my thoughts, faint but distinct. Not mine, his. I staggered. The realization hit me harder than any memory. This is what it means to listen. The man stopped a few feet from me. "Hello," he said uncertainly. Do you know where I am? His voice echoed strangely, folding back on itself before fading. Calder Alley, I said. The words tasted wrong in my mouth. Too heavy, too complete. He laughed nervously. My GPS stopped working. I think I'm lost. I could hear it now. His scream, not yet formed, but close. A pressure building behind his words, behind his fear. It pulsed in time with his heartbeat, growing stronger as panic crept in. Leave, I said quickly. He frowned. What? Leave now. The alley reacted. The walls darkened. The pressure behind my eyes spiked. I realized too late that I had spoken without permission. The scream surged. The man grabbed his head, gasping as sound tore itself out of him. It was sudden and violent, ripping through the alley and straight into me. I cried out as it hit. The scream did not echo. It anchored. I felt it bind itself to my chest, joining the others. My knees buckled and I collapsed against the wall, breath coming in ragged pulls. The man fell silent. His mouth hung open. No sound came out. He stared at me in horror. "What did you do to me?" he whispered. I could not answer. I could not speak. The alley had gone still again. The man backed away slowly, then turned and ran. His footsteps faded rapidly, swallowed by the city beyond the alley. I remained where I was, shaking. Understanding settled in. I was not meant to warn them. I was meant to receive. The alley does not prevent screams. It harvests them. A low vibration hummed through the bricks. Approval. The pressure eased slightly. I forced myself to stand. As I did, new details emerged. Faint markings glowed along the walls, symbols etched deep into the stone, now visible only to me. Each one pulsed softly, corresponding to a sound bound within. Names, dates, moments. The alley was a ledger, and I was its clerk. Another presence stirred. Further down the alley, a shape detached itself from the darkness. The figure returned, but it was changed. Its outline flickered, unstable, like an image struggling to remain in focus. "You have begun," he said. I swallowed. I did not choose this. "No," he agreed. "You accepted it." I looked toward the alley entrance. "How many will come?" The figure followed my gaze. "As many as need to be heard," he replied. A distant scream echoed from somewhere in the city. It tugged at me hard. I doubled over as the pull intensified, instinct urging me toward the sound. The figure stepped back. "You cannot leave the alley anymore," he said. "But the screams will find you." I looked down at my hands. They were stained, not with blood, with sound. Invisible weight pressed deeper into my chest. The alley waited, and somewhere beyond it, another invitation was being delivered. The second scream came before the second person arrived. It hit me like a sudden change in pressure, a violent inward pull that bent my spine and stole the breath from my lungs. I dropped to one knee, palm pressed flat against the brick wall as invisible weight flooded my chest. This one was different, sharper, faster, desperate in a way that had not yet learned hopelessness. I knew without seeing him that someone was running. The alley darkened in response. I lifted my head just as a young woman burst through the entrance, stumbling as if she had been shoved forward by unseen hands. She barely had time to look around before the sound inside her tore loose. She screamed. It was raw and high, a sound ripped straight straight from the center of her fear. It did not echo. It slammed into the alley and snapped back into her chest, over and over, trapping her in a feedback loop of terror. She clutched her ears and fell to the ground. "Stop it," she sobbed. "Please make it stop." Every instinct in me surged forward. I rushed toward her. The moment I moved, the alley punished me. Pain lanced through my skull as the bound screams inside me flared, warning me back. The pressure behind my eyes intensified until my vision blurred. I understood. Intervention was not allowed. I knelt a short distance away, close enough to see her shaking hands, far enough not to provoke the alley further. She looked up at me, eyes wild. "Help me," she begged. "Something is wrong with this place." I could hear her future now, fragments of sound bleeding through time, panic sirens, sobbing regret. If she stayed, her scream would anchor permanently. If she left, it would follow her. There was no version where it disappeared. "Leave," I said carefully. She shook her head violently. "I can't." The alley had tightened around her. The walls leaned inward slightly, shadows deepening, light draining from the entrance behind her. I tried again. "You have to go now." Her scream fractured. It splintered into smaller sounds, gasps, whimpers, choking cries, each one stabbing into me as it detached and bound itself alongside the others. I screamed too, not out loud. Inside, the weight was unbearable. I felt something tear free inside my chest, something essential. The woman collapsed forward, her voice gone. She crawled toward the exit, fingers scraping against the pavement, mouth opening and closing soundlessly. When she crossed the threshold, the alley released her. She stumbled out into the street beyond, collapsing onto the sidewalk. Silence returned. I remained kneeling, shaking violently. The alley hummed softly. Satisfied, the pressure eased slightly. I realized then the truth of my role. I was not meant to save them. I was meant to witness the moment the scream was taken. The figure emerged from the darkness. "You are learning," he said. My voice came out hoarse. "She survived. Her body did," he replied. Her sound did not. I looked down at my hands. They were trembling uncontrollably. "What happens when I'm full?" I asked. The figure did not answer. Instead, he gestured toward the wall. New markings had appeared, fresh symbols glowing faintly. Her name, 2 days date, a moment catalogued. I felt something settle deeper inside me, a scream finding its place. Far away, a siren wailed. The sound reached for me, and the alley leaned in to listen. Something inside me changed after the second scream. It was subtle at first, a delay between what I felt and how strongly I felt it. The terror was still there, but dulled, filtered, as if distance had been inserted between my mind and my reactions. The alley noticed. It always noticed. The next visitor arrived sooner than I expected. A middle-aged man stepped hesitantly into Calder Alley, his shoulders hunched, phone light trembling in his hand. He spoke to himself under his breath, trying to convince his fear it was irrational. I did not rush to warn him. The realization frightened me more than the screams. I felt his sound before he made it, a low pressure coiling inside my chest. Familiar now, predictable. He looked at me. "Are you okay?" he asked. His concern felt distant. "Leave," I said automatically. He hesitated. "My daughter is missing," he said. "Someone told me to check this place." The alley tightened. The scream inside him surged violently. Impatient, I should have said more. I did not. The scream tore out of him, powerful and hoarse, collapsing him to his knees. I felt it bind itself to me with practiced efficiency, sliding into place among the others. My breathing barely changed. That was when I understood the alley was not eroding my humanity. It was streamlining it. The man clawed at the ground, sobbing without sound. I watched, not because I wanted to, because the alley required it. He staggered back to his feet and fled, leaving silence behind him. The figure appeared beside me. "You are adapting," he observed. I swallowed. "Am I becoming like you?" The figure considered. "I was once like you," he said. Before the listening outweighed the feeling, I stared at him. What happens when there is nothing left to feel? The alley answered before he could. A vibration rolled through the bricks, deep and approving. More footsteps echoed from the entrance. Two this time. A couple entered together, arguing softly, their tension sharp enough to cut. Their screams arrived separately but intertwined, a discordant harmony of fear and blame. I felt both settle into me. I did not flinch. The couple fled in opposite directions, each carrying silence where their voices had been. The walls glowed, new markings etched themselves deeper. The ledger was filling faster now. I realized with growing dread that the alley was accelerating. It was feeding more often. It needed me efficient. I pressed my hand against my chest. "I can feel them less," I whispered. The figure watched closely. "That is mercy," he said. "For whom?" He did not answer. A child appeared at the edge of the alley, small, alone. I froze. The scream inside the child was barely formed, fragile and thin. The alley leaned forward eagerly. I stepped between the child and the darkness. "No," I said firmly. Pain exploded behind my eyes. The alley resisted. The child looked up at me. "Mister," he asked, "am I lost?" My heart twisted painfully. The scream trembled. For the first time since becoming the listener, I fought back. "Run!" I shouted. The pain intensified, blinding me. The child screamed, but this time the sound did not bind. It passed through me. The alley recoiled violently. The child ran. Silence crashed down. The figure stared at me in disbelief. "You should not have been able to do that." I collapsed against the wall, gasping. "Neither should you still be here," I said weakly. The alley shook. Cracks spread again. Somewhere deep inside it, something screamed in anger. The alley did not forgive defiance. It remembered it. After the child escaped, the silence that followed was not relief. It was anticipation. The bricks vibrated faintly beneath my palms, like a body suppressing a tremor. I felt the collected screams inside me shift, restless, agitated. The figure remained beside me, watching the walls. "You have disrupted equilibrium," he said. "Good," I replied weakly. The alley responded. The entrance sealed, not physically, but perceptually. The street beyond blurred and dimmed until it felt distant, unreal, like a memory I could no longer access. Footsteps echoed from nowhere and everywhere at once. They came in waves. The first man stumbled into the alley already screaming. No build-up, No confusion, just pure terror ripped from his chest the instant he crossed the threshold. The sound slammed into me, heavier than the others, dragging me to one knee. "This is punishment," the figure said. "The alley is reclaiming efficiency." The second arrival followed seconds later, then the third, screams layered on top of screams, each one binding faster than the last. I felt them pack tighter inside me, compressing until breathing became painful. "Stop it," I shouted. The alley laughed, not with sound, with pressure. My vision tunneled as the walls leaned inward, narrowing the space until it felt like the alley was trying to swallow me whole. Faces pressed from within the bricks again, but now they were screaming outward, mouths tearing at the stone. "You wanted mercy," the figure said. "This is consequence." I staggered forward. "I cannot hold them all." Cracks spread across the ground beneath my feet, glowing faintly as if heat was building below. "You are not meant to hold them forever," he replied. I froze. "What does that mean?" The alley answered. The ground dropped. I fell through the street, through brick, through sound. I landed hard on metal. The world reassembled around me into a vast chamber far larger than anything before. Rows upon rows of stone pillars stretched into darkness, each one carved with names, dates, moments. Every pillar hummed softly, screams stored vertically. "This is where excess is processed," the figure said calmly. I pushed myself up, dizzy. "Processed how?" He pointed. At the far end of the chamber stood a shape bound to a pillar. A person. Their mouth was open. No sound came out. The scream was being pulled upward, extracted like smoke into the stone above them. My stomach churned. "They are being emptied, reallocated," the figure corrected. "The alley requires containers." I backed away. "You are turning people into pillars." "No," he said. "The screams do that. The people are temporary." The figure gestured toward the chamber. "You interfered with intake. Now output must increase." The pressure inside me intensified. I felt screams tearing loose from my chest, ripping upward into the pillars, leaving behind a hollow ache. I screamed, this time out loud. The sound did not bind. It was taken. The figure watched closely. "You are close to breaking," he said. "Good," I gasped. The chamber shook violently. Some pillars cracked. Screams leaked out. Chaos erupted. The alley screamed through every surface at once. The figure stared at the fractures in shock. This has never happened before. I looked at him through tears. Maybe that is the problem. The chamber did not collapse. It adapted. After the pillars cracked and the stolen screams spilled into the air, the space reshaped itself with deliberate intent. Stone groaned and slid as if guided by unseen hands. The fractures sealed, not with repair, but with reinforcement, thicker, denser, more oppressive. The figure stepped back, watching with something close to reverence. "The system is responding," he said. "When threatened, it consolidates." The air grew heavier. Each breath felt rationed, measured. I could feel the screams inside me, reorganizing, stacking themselves into tighter layers. Pain sharpened into focus. I staggered forward between the pillars. People were still bound to them. Their eyes followed me, not pleading, expectant. I understood what they were waiting for. Release. I reached toward the nearest pillar. The moment my fingers brushed the stone, a surge of sound erupted upward, tearing loose from the trapped body. The person collapsed to the floor, gasping, alive but empty. The scream flowed into me. I screamed silently as it bound itself into my chest. The figure moved quickly. "Do not do that," he warned. "You are not a conduit for output." I laughed hoarsely. "Neither are they." The chamber pulsed. New pillars rose from the floor, sealing into place with brutal efficiency. Fresh names etched themselves instantly as if written by pressure alone. The alley was accelerating containment. "This place is learning," I said. The figure nodded. "It always learns from resistance." A deep rumble rolled through the chamber. Footsteps echoed from above. Not one, many. The ceiling split open, revealing a shaft of darkness. Bodies fell. They hit the stone hard, groaning, screaming, coughing. People dragged here by invitation, by rumor, by desperation. The screams arrived all at once. I dropped to my knees. The impact nearly tore me apart. The figure grabbed my arm. "If you absorb them all, you will fracture permanently." I looked up at him. "Then help me change the rules." For the first time, the figure hesitated. "Rules are what hold this place together," he said. I tightened my grip. "Then break them." The screams surged again. I felt something give inside me. Not breaking, opening. The sounds did not stack. They spread, flowed through me, and outward across the chamber. Pillars trembled violently as screams were pulled from stone and flesh alike. People collapsed free, alive. The chamber howled. Walls split open, leaking sound like blood. The figure staggered back. "You are becoming a breach." "Good," I whispered. The alley recoiled. Its approval turned to alarm. The ceiling cracked wider, and a new presence descended. The keeper, larger than the figure, heavier than the walls themselves. Its shape was made of layered sound compressed into a form that hurt to look at. It spoke without words. The chamber shook. I stood unsteadily. "You are full," I said to it. "That is why you harvest." The keeper pressed forward. Sound crushed against me. I screamed aloud. The scream did not bind. It tore free, ripping through the keeper like a blade. The form shuddered. Pillars exploded. The chamber began to collapse for real this time. The figure shouted something lost in the chaos. People ran. Screams escaped upward, outward, free. I felt myself unraveling, but the weight in my chest was lifting. The alley screamed in fury, and then it went silent. The silence did not last. When the chamber finally collapsed, and the last echoes of freed screams rushed upward, the world above Calder Alley began to change. I felt it immediately, a stretching sensation behind my eyes, as if the alley were pulling itself outward through the city. I emerged onto the street on my hands and knees. Boston was wrong. The night air vibrated with distant sound sirens, voices, music, all twisted slightly out of sync. Street lights flickered at irregular intervals, casting shadows that lagged behind their owners by a fraction of a second. The alley entrance behind me was gone. In its place stood an ordinary brick wall, but the screams were still inside me. Not packed, not bound, flowing. I staggered to my feet. Every step sent ripples through the sounds around me. A passing car horn bent into a shriek before snapping back to normal. A woman laughing on the sidewalk, choked mid-sound, clutching her throat in confusion. I covered my ears. It did nothing. The figure appeared beside me, dimmer now, fading. "You ruptured containment," he said. "Calder Alley no longer holds the screams in one place." I looked around. People stopped in the street, listening to something they could not name. Faces tightened, hands rose to ears. Panic spread in small, controlled bursts. "You let it out," I whispered. He nodded. The alley was a filter. Without it, the city hears what it buried. A man across the street suddenly screamed and collapsed. The sound lashed outward, striking others nearby, igniting chain reactions of terror. One scream triggered another, then another, spreading like infection. I dropped to my knees. "This is worse." The figure knelt in front of me. "You broke a system without replacing it," he said. I clenched my fists. "Then tell me what I am supposed to be now." He studied me. "You are still listening," he said, "but now there is no alley between you and them." The realization hit me like a blow. I was the filter now. I stood. The screams converged on me, instinctively drawn toward the familiar gravity in my chest. Pain flared, but I held my ground, forcing myself to breathe. One by one, the screams softened as they reached me, dissolving into heavy echoes instead of detonating outward. The street calmed. People gasped, confused but alive. I swayed, barely standing. The figure smiled faintly. "That is the cost," he said. "You must stay close." Close to what? To everyone. Police sirens wailed, approaching fast. The figure began to fade further. "I cannot remain much longer," he said. "When the keeper fell, so did my anchor." I grabbed his arm. "Then teach me." He met my eyes. "You already know." A scream rose from a building window above us. I lifted my head. The sound bent toward me. I caught it. It burned, but it did not spread. The figure vanished. I stood alone in the street, surrounded by people who would never know how close they had come. The city breathed again, but I knew the truth. Every scream now had a path, and that path led to me. The city did not thank me. It adjusted. After that night, Boston learned how to scream quietly. Fear did not vanish. It refined itself. People flinched at nothing. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Nighttime grew heavier, as if the dark itself had learned to listen, and I could hear all of it. Every restrained cry brushed against my thoughts like static. Every swallowed scream pulled at my chest, demanding acknowledgement. I slept in fragments, waking whenever someone nearby reached the edge of panic. I could not leave. Distance made it worse. When I tried to cross the river, the pressure behind my eyes became unbearable. Sounds twisted. Car horns became shrieks. The city pushed me back. I understood the boundary then. Calder Alley was gone, but its radius remained. I walked the streets at night, drawn toward the loudest silences. Each step was guided by weight rather than direction. I learned where grief pooled: hospitals, police stations, abandoned apartments. I learned restraint. Absorbing everything would kill me. Filtering too little would kill others. The balance was thin and cruel. One night, the figure returned, not beside me, ahead of me, standing at the edge of an empty intersection, barely visible beneath a flickering traffic light. "You are reaching the limit," he said. I felt it too. My chest ached constantly, ribs sore, as if something inside were pressing outward. What happens when I cannot carry them anymore? I asked. He did not answer immediately. The city answered first. A scream rose from miles away. Not one, many. A building fire. Sirens howled. The weight slammed into me so hard I dropped to my knees. I screamed aloud. The sound bent back toward me, feeding itself. The figure knelt. This is the choice, he said. Containment or release. I shook my head violently. Release would destroy everything. Containment will destroy you. The truth landed with sickening clarity. I was never meant to survive this role. I was meant to end it. How I whispered. The figure looked toward the river, the place where Calder Alley first learned to listen. He said, where screams meet water and do not return. The memory surfaced. The accident. Cold water. My scream swallowed whole. If I went there, you would become the barrier, he said. Permanent, silent. I laughed weakly. A living grave. A necessary one. The fire screamed louder. People died. The weight crushed me. I staggered to my feet. If I do this, the city will forget. No, he said. It will sleep. I looked at the river in the distance, reflecting firelight. I started walking. Behind me, the city screamed. Ahead of me, the water waited. The river did not resist me. It accepted. Cold wrapped around my legs the moment I stepped into the water, sharp enough to steal my breath. The city lights fractured across the surface, stretching into broken lines that trembled with every ripple. Behind me, Boston screamed. Ahead of me, silence waited. Each step deeper pulled more weight from my chest. The screams bound inside me strained desperately, clinging to bone and breath, unwilling to be released. I could feel them tearing loose in fragments, slipping downward into the current. The figure stood on the riverbank. This is the last threshold, he said. Once crossed, there is no return. I nodded. I was already beyond return. The water rose to my waist. Memories surged with the cold. The alley, the doors, the voices that never stopped. I waded forward. The screams began to leave me in earnest now, not violently, gently. One by one, they slid free, dissolving into the water where sound could not survive. Each release carved something hollow inside me, not pain but absence. The city noise behind me dulled. Sirens softened. Cries faded. The pressure behind my eyes vanished completely. For the first time since the invitation arrived, my thoughts were my own. The water reached my chest. The figure called out, "You will become the place where they end," he said. Not a listener, a seal. I took another step. The river climbed to my shoulders. The screams panicked. I felt them surge upward, trying to escape back into the city. The water pulled harder, dragging them down, shredding them into nothing. My heart hammered. My body shook, but I did not stop. I thought of the woman in the alley, the child, the people who never knew why their voices disappeared. The water touched my throat. The city behind me went quiet, not silent, sleeping. The screams were gone, all of them. The water closed over my mouth. Cold filled my lungs. The figure faded from the shore. The last thing I heard was not a scream. It was relief. When morning came, the river looked ordinary. Boats passed. People jogged along the path. No one noticed the place where sound no longer returned. Weeks later, the reports came. Fewer panic calls, fewer unexplained collapses. The city breathed easier. But sometimes at night, when the river is still and the air is cold, people say they hear something beneath the surface. Not screaming, listening. Death was not the end. It was a reassignment. I became aware slowly, not as a body, but as a boundary. The river no longer pressed cold against skin, because there was no skin left to feel it. There was only depth and pressure, and the steady movement of water carrying sound away from the world above. The screams did not return. They brushed against me and dissolved, stripped of shape and urgency, reduced to harmless vibration. I felt them pass through like currents, each one leaving behind a faint impression before fading completely. I listened without effort. Time behaved differently here. Days passed like seconds. Weeks folded into moments. The city above shifted and changed, but its panic softened. Fear no longer erupted without warning. People still screamed, of course. Humans always would. But the screams ended where they were meant to. With me, I learned the texture of sound. Some arrived sharp and frantic. Others were low and resigned. Children sounded different from adults. Grief carried more weight than pain. Regret lingered longest. None of it hurt anymore. That should have been comforting. It was not, because something else had begun to happen. At first it was subtle, a pressure opposite the flow of water, a resistance that should not have existed. I ignored it, assuming it was simply another sound finding its end. Then the pressure grew. One night the river slowed. I felt it distinctly, a hesitation in the current, as if something beneath me were pulling back. The water darkened, not with shadow, but with depth, an absence that swallowed vibration instead of carrying it away. Something was listening to me. The realization sent a ripple of unease through what remained of my awareness. The screams still dissolved, but now some of them lingered longer than they should have. They clung, vibrating softly against me before finally breaking apart. I traced the disturbance downward. There was no bottom, only space. And in that space, something vast shifted, responding to the constant offering of sound. I understood then the mistake I had made. I had sealed the city, but I had fed something else. First voice came not as a scream, but as a whisper. Thank you. The sound did not dissolve. Stayed. I recoiled instinctively, but there was nowhere to go. The water above me trembled. The whisper came again. Closer. You have been very generous. Images pressed into my awareness. Calder Alley, not as it had been, but as it was becoming. A new place forming not of brick, but of water and pressure and endless listening. A mirror beneath the city. The thing below me shifted again. It was not a keeper. It was not an alley. It was hunger. I tried to push the remaining screams away faster, forcing them to dissolve before they could sink deeper. The hunger responded eagerly. The water grew colder, heavier. The whispers multiplied. You hear everything now, they said. You understand us. No, I tried to say, but sound no longer belonged to me. The river above rippled violently. On the surface, a fisherman stumbled, dropping his line as something tugged hard beneath the water. The hunger learned. It learned me, and somewhere in the city, a scream did not end. The hunger did not announce itself again. It did not need to. Once it had learned the shape of sound, it no longer waited for permission. It reached upward through the river in subtle increments, testing resistance, exploring pathways I could not block. I felt it whenever a scream lingered too long. Not as pain, as pressure. The city above me slept uneasily. Panic attacks spiked without cause. People woke, gasping from dreams they could not remember. Doctors called it stress. Therapists blamed buried trauma. They were not wrong. They were incomplete. The first disappearance happened on a foggy morning. A jogger vanished along the river path. No splash, no witnesses, just a severed audio recording from a nearby security camera, the sound cutting out mid-breath. I felt the moment he was taken, not as a scream, as silence being pulled downward. The hunger had learned a new method. It did not want screams anymore. It wanted the space before them. I tried to interfere. I forced sound outward, creating ripples meant to disrupt its grip. The river churned violently for a moment, then stilled. The hunger adapted. It always adapted. Another disappearance followed, then another, always near water, always without sound. The city noticed. Rumors spread. People avoided the river at night. Police patrols increased. Signs were posted warning of unstable banks and dangerous currents. None of it mattered. The hunger was no longer bound to water alone. I felt it stretch. Storm drains, sewers, underground pipes humming with constant vibration. The city was threaded with sound channels, and I was anchored at their convergence. The whispers returned, not grateful now, instructional. You have done well, they said. You prepared the city. I tried to scream. Nothing came. I had become too quiet. The river surface rippled again. This time something rose. Not fully, just enough to break the boundary. A shape formed beneath the water, an outline made of distorted reflections and compressed darkness. It pressed upward, testing the barrier I had become. I strained against it. The barrier held, barely. Above the river, emergency sirens wailed. A bridge trembled as people ran. I felt the hunger recoil slightly. It was not strong enough yet, but it would be. Given time, I understood then my final error. I had removed fear too efficiently. Without screams, the city had no warning, no release. The pressure built unseen, feeding what waited below. I searched for another solution, but solutions require voices, and mine was gone. Somewhere far above, a child cried softly. The sound slipped past me, and the hunger leaned closer. I learned to count the pauses without a voice of my own. Time revealed itself through gaps, the space between breaths, the hesitation before a word that never came, the silence after a sound that should have followed. Those were the moments the hunger preferred. It slid into them effortlessly. The city grew quieter in ways that frightened even those who could not explain why. Emergency rooms filled with patients patients who insisted something had almost happened. Drivers froze at green lights, unable to remember what they had meant to do next. Children stopped mid-sentence and stared at nothing. Listening, the hunger was practicing. It was learning how to take without being noticed. I felt it reach farther each night, across pipes and tunnels and vibrating steel, beneath apartment buildings, beneath schools, beneath hospitals where silence was already thick with dread. I could no longer block it. I could only delay. I focused on disruption. Whenever I sensed the pull begin, I flooded the channels with harmless noise, wind through leaves, the rumble of distant trains, anything to fill the gaps. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it did not. The first mass event happened during a blackout. A transformer blew and a neighborhood dropped into darkness. No hum, no lights, no background noise. Perfect conditions. I felt the hunger surge upward like a tide. People froze in their apartments, mouths opening soundlessly. Panic tried to form but found no exit. The silence thickened until it became unbearable. I forced everything I had outward. The river roared. Water slammed against concrete banks loud enough to wake the city. Alarms triggered. Dogs barked. Windows rattled. The silence shattered. The hunger recoiled violently. Lives were saved, but the effort tore at me. I felt pieces of myself drift away with the sound. Memories thinning. Names slipping. Faces losing detail. I was eroding. The hunger noticed. Its whispers returned softer now. You cannot sustain this, they said. You are finite. They were right. I needed help. I searched for another listener, someone sensitive to sound, someone who had heard Calder Alley and survived. I reached outward, following the faint echoes left behind by the alley years ago. Most had faded, one had not. A man who flinched at sirens, who woke screaming from dreams with no sound, who avoided narrow streets without knowing why. He lived close to the river. I gathered what remained of my strength and pushed a single clear sound upward. An invitation. The blackout neighborhood slept uneasily. The hunger withdrew temporarily. Above the water, a phone vibrated on a nightstand. The message read, Calder Alley, 11:47 p.m. Please do not arrive early. The cycle began again. The invitation woke me before the sound did. My phone vibrated softly on the nightstand, a dull, persistent buzz that slipped into my dreams and pulled me upward. I reached for it with a groan, expecting a late email or an automated alert. Instead, I saw the message. Calder Alley, 11:47 p.m. Please do not arrive early. The date beneath it was wrong. 1 year old. My stomach tightened in a way that had nothing to do with sleep. I sat up and listened. At first, there was nothing unusual. The low hum of my apartment building, distant traffic, a neighbor coughing through thin walls, but beneath it all was something else. A pause, an unnatural gap between sounds that felt deliberate. I swung my legs out of bed. Ever since the accident, I had been sensitive to noise. Sirens made my chest ache. Sudden silence made my skin crawl. Therapists called it trauma. Doctors had no explanation. The invitation glowed faintly. I I should have deleted it. Instead, I checked the time. 11:12 p.m. I did not know where Calder Alley was. My phone map hesitated when I typed it in, then reluctantly drew a route that cut through parts of the city I avoided without knowing why. As I dressed, a pressure built behind my eyes. Not pain, expectation. The streets were quieter than usual as I walked. Conversations faded when I passed. A busker stopped playing mid-song, staring at nothing until I moved on. The alley appeared between two buildings that should have shared a wall. I recognized it instantly, not from memory, from absence. This place had been missing from my life, and I had felt the hole. I stopped at the threshold. The silence here was thick enough to taste. My phone vibrated again. Unknown sender. You may enter now. 11:47 p.m. I stepped inside. The sound behind me did not disappear. It watched. Calder Alley stretched longer than it should have. Bricks damp and dark. The air heavy with waiting. My footsteps echoed wrong, arriving half a second late. Then I heard it. Not a scream, a whisper. Counting. 1, 2, 3. Each number fell into the silence and vanished as if swallowed. I followed the sound deeper into the alley. With every step, the counting grew louder, and the gaps between numbers stretched wider. 4, 5. The whisper was my own voice. Cold fear spread through my chest. At the end of the alley stood a man, or what remained of one. His outline flickered like a reflection on disturbed water. His eyes were hollow, but focused entirely on me. "Do not answer," he said without moving his mouth. The whisper reached 6. My heart pounded. "What happens if I answer?" I asked. The man looked away. "Then you become me." The counting stopped. The silence leaned in, and somewhere beneath the city, something listened. I did not answer. The whisper waited. The silence pressed closer than any wall ever had. It curled around my ears and slid behind my eyes. Heavy with expectation, I understood instinctively that this was the final test. Not courage, not fear, restraint. The man at the end of the alley remained still, his outline flickering like a damaged recording. I could feel his effort in holding himself together. Every moment of his existence stretched thin by listening. The counting began again. 1, 2. The numbers were not spoken aloud. They formed directly inside my head, vibrating against thoughts I did not realize I was trying to hide. I closed my eyes. I focused on the sounds beyond the alley. Traffic, wind, the distant hum of the city. I anchored myself to everything that existed outside this place. 3, 4. A pressure formed in my chest. Not panic, recognition. I had heard this silence before. In the hospital room after the accident. In the moment before the doctor spoke. In the space where words should have been. Calder Alley was not hunting screams. It was hunting answers. 5. The man shook his head slowly. "If you answer, it will never stop," he said. "You will hear what no one else can carry." I felt something stir beneath the pavement. Not hunger, memory. This place was older than the city, older than the river. It existed wherever sound was trapped between wanting and refusing. 6. I took a step backward. The alley reacted violently. The walls groaned. The bricks rippled like disturbed water. The counting fractured, splintering into overlapping sequences. 7, 9, 12. time unraveled, I understood then what the invitation truly was. Not a summons, a warning sent backward. I raised my voice, not toward the whisper, toward the alley itself. "I will not answer," I said clearly. The words landed with weight. The silence recoiled. The counting stopped. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the alley began to fold, not collapse, withdraw. The darkness pulled inward, peeling away from the bricks like fog burning off in sunlight. The air warmed. Sound returned in uneven bursts. Footsteps, laughter, distant sirens. The man at the end of the alley smiled. "It chose you," he said softly. I shook my head. "No," he nodded, "because you refused." The alley narrowed, shrinking, until it was nothing more than an ordinary gap between buildings. The pressure vanished completely. I staggered backward into the street. The city roared around me, alive and imperfect. I waited. No whisper came. No counting, no silence leaning in. Days passed, then weeks. Life resumed its normal chaos. But sometimes when the city grows quiet and the space between sounds stretches too long, I remember the alley, and I remember the rule it tried to teach me. Some silences are doors, and some doors should never be answered. The story ends here. Thank you for watching and listening to the whole story. Please subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell to listen to the next stories.